welcome to another episode of the Gentle Business Space podcast. I'm Fabi, I'm assistant expert and coach, and I support other female business owners work in their business in a more sustainable way without burning out. This week, I want to talk about a concept around seasonal living and working, something I really love and made a huge difference to me. So to explain a little bit more about it, I know we often approach, a lot of us, not everyone, but a lot of us approach work in that concept of pushing, doing, trying to do all the things. And that keeps us really focused on that constantly doing and working. And then often what happens is that we crash. So we try to do all the things all the time and then we crash. And that's what I did. And I didn't know I was going through the burnout cycles at the time. But it kind of was that loop of pushing, doing all the things, trying to make it all happen, and then crashing and just being really disheartened and withdrawing and procrastinating more. And maybe, this isn't meant for me. And I kind of stepped back for a little while and then I started over and then pushing again, doing all the things again. And so many of us do that. And I didn't know at the time, but I was going through the burnout cycles, and a lot of us do. It's that constant extreme roller coaster of emotions, of ups and downs, and just feeling very extreme all the time. Either we're doing everything or nothing. And what helped me to understand a little bit better was, on the one side, understanding my nervous system better and what's going on for me, but without understanding kind of that seasonal approach. And what that means is kind of just like the seasons that we kind of have these times of working and rest. And that starts with spring. And spring is the kind of new energy, new ideas, that new things are coming up and we're quite energetic. So it's that kind of new beginning, new things are coming to our mind, and you might have a new idea for a course or a program or something that's coming up. And that's kind of that more energetic phase at the beginning. And then we move into summer. And summer is the phase where we're doing the work, we're taking actions, we're making progress, we're putting the work in. And that's obviously a very important part. But often what happens is that we get stuck in that part and then we ignore the rest of the seasons. So it's that phase, just like summer, you're actively out, you want to do things. So you're putting your plans and ideas that kind of come up in spring, you're putting those in action. But then what naturally will happen, just like the seasons, is autumn and winter. And a lot of the times we ignore those. So autumn is the time where we start to slow down a little bit. And also invites appreciation and gratitude to everything that we've achieved, that we've done, and allowing that space to start to slow down, to reflect a little bit more, to review, and to ease off a little bit of that constant doing, to take things a little bit slower and really acknowledge and appreciate what you've achieved. And I see that missing a lot of the time. I know it has for me. It's definitely one that I like to skip. But what happens is that we're then so stuck in that summer, springtime of constantly doing and only seeing, where we need to go and constantly achieving more to get there, instead of to really reflecting and looking back at everything you've already achieved. Because it's usually so much more than we think it is. And it's so easy to constantly think, oh, I haven't done enough yet. And I'm still not where I want to be. But actually looking back, you'll see that there's a lot that you've achieved and so much happened, and there's so many things that you can celebrate, and really taking that time to reflect on that and to actually really celebrate it is so important. And then after that phase comes winter. And winter is to really slow down, to rest, to let it all sink. If you've been working in that kind of season approach, you've been working a year, so now it's time to rest and to slow down, to really let everything settle. So again, we can't constantly be in that phase of achieving, growing more, which society tells us a lot of the time, but actually we need to have space to really let it all settle. There's probably new things that you've learned, new things that you've taken in, you're working with more clients, so there needs to be space to really let it all settle down, and your body and your mind needs time to rest and to, let it all sink in. And that approach doesn't obviously just apply over the whole year, but it's actually just an approach to think about how you work. And for me, I can see it reflecting in my months and my week and my day as well. It's a really nice way of thinking about your work. So when you're planning your work, not just planning in for the kind of actively doing phase, but also time to reflect, to review onto your day, your week, and your month. And then also inviting ways to celebrate that kind of autumn, as well as time to rest, to nurture yourself, to slow down. And again, you can see that kind of reflection throughout a day. Kind of that morning is the spring, you need energy for the day. And then the midday is kind of the implementing the action. We're taking that summer part, we're taking action. And then what we forget a lot of the time is that evening phase, slowing down, letting to reflect on the day, but really acknowledging what you've achieved during that day. And then resting, taking time to actually rest, to switch off, to let it all sink in. And again, that's kind of throughout the day. The same throughout the week, reflecting on your week at the end of the week, and then taking time to rest over the weekend to actually switch off. And then the same over the month and over the year. So I think it's a really great concept to really approach ourselves differently, so we don't constantly get stuck in that doing phase, which can be so easily done when we run our own business, but also invite that time to slow down and to rest. And the more we do that, the more then we have energy as well for that kind of spring phase. That new energy comes after we've rested. But just like in the seasons, it's all part of it. And it's so important to bring all the different parts into it. I'd love to know, like, from you hearing about this, maybe this is a new concept, maybe it's not, maybe you've heard about it before, but maybe noticing, where do you recognize yourself? Well, I kind of, with compassion, where do you find yourself, or which seasons do you tend to skip? Is it also the kind of celebrating? Or maybe sometimes we're more in the spring, we're planning, but actually the summer can be quite hard, actually taking action. So I'd love to know what kind of comes up for you. What's your biggest insight from hearing all of this? And yeah, which seasons do you tend to be in? We all kind of tend to have habits and things that we skip. Maybe it's the winter, the rest part. So yes, I'd love to know, as always, your reflections, your thoughts. And I hope you found this, hearing about this kind of seasonal working and living, helpful. And if you like any more support with this and this kind of work of slowing down in your work, I invite you to get in touch. We can work one-to-one in my coaching program, and we can find ways together that work for you to work in a more sustainable and gentle, grounded way. So yeah, if you like support with that, just get in touch if you'd like to find out more. And thank you so much for listening, and I will see you again soon. Take care.